Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Ashok Gaura Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. We'll wait for a couple of more minutes and then start at 8:2 or 8:3. I'll continue with the Kirtan.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, dear devotees. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Today we are very happy to have the association of His Grace Ashok Gaura Prabhuji. Prabhuji will be sharing Bhagavata from 4th canto, 24th chapter, verse number 63. The chapter is titled Rudra Gita, song sung by Lord Shiva. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please start, Prabhuji.
Sure, Prabhu. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarane. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कं करोति वाचालं पुंगं लंघयते गिरिं कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं माधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. I welcome you all and seeking the blessings of all devotees. Before I speak,
Do you want me to share the verse, Prabhu, or you are sharing?
I am going to share, Prabhu.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. All right. So, reading from Canto 4, chapter 24, text 63. त्वमेक आद्य पुरुषः त्वमेक आद्यः पुरुषः सुप्तशक्तिस्तया रजसत्त्वतमो विभिद्यते। महानहं खं मरुदग्निवार्धरा सुरर्षयो भूतगणा इदं यतः। त्वमेक आद्य पुरुषः सुप्तशक्तिस्तया रजसत्त्वतमो विभिद्यते। महानहं खं मरुदग्निवार्धरा सुरर्षयो भूतगणा इदं यतः। त्वमेक आद्यः पुरुषः सुप्तशक्तिस्तया रजसत्त्वतमो विभिद्यते। महानहं खं मरुदग्निवार्धरा सुरर्षयो भूतगणा इदं यतः. Okay. From your leadership, Ekha one, Adhya, the original Purusha, person, Supta, dormant, Shakti, energy, Taya, by which, Raja, the passion energy, Sattva, goodness, Tama, ignorance, Vividyate is diversified, Mahan, the total material energy, Aham, egotism, Kham, the sky, Marut, air, Agni, fire, Vaha, water, Dhara, earth, Surarshaya, the demigods and the great sages. Bhutagana, the living entities. Idam, all this. Yataha, from whom. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, you are the only supreme person, the cause of all causes, because, before the creation of this material world, your material energy remains in a dormant condition. When your material energy is agitated, the three qualities, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, act, and as a result, the total material energy, egotism, ether, air, fire, water, earth, and all the various demigods and saintly persons become manifest. Thus, the material energy is created. Purport. If the whole creation is one, that is nothing but the Supreme Lord or Vishnu, then why do the expert transcendentalists make such categories as are found in the above verse? Why do learned and expert scholars distinguish between matter and spirit? In answer to these questions, Lord Shiva says, The spirit and matter are not creations of various philosophers, but are manifested by Lord Vishnu, as described in this verse. Tvamek adyaha purushaha. Spiritual and material categories are made possible by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But actually, there is no such distinctions for the living entities who are eternally engaged in the service of the Lord. There is only a material world for those who want to imitate the Lord and become enjoyers. Indeed, the material world is nothing but the forgetfulness of the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the creator of everything. The distinction between matter and spirit is created by the sleeping energy of the Lord. When the Lord wants to give some facility to those living entities who want to imitate the Lord in his enjoyment. It is only for them that this material world is created by the dormant energy of the Lord. For instance, sometimes children want to imitate their mother and cook in the kitchen. And at such a time, the mother supplies them with some toys so that the children can imitate her cooking. Similarly, when some of the living entities want to imitate the activities of the Lord, this material cosmic manifestation is created for them by the Lord. The material creation is therefore caused by the Lord through his material energy. It is by the glance of the Lord that the material energy is activated. At that time, the three material qualities are set into motion, and the material energy is manifested first in the form of Mahatattva, then egotism, then ether, air, fire, water, and earth. After the creation, the living entities are impregnated in the cosmic manifestation, and they emerge as Lord Brahma and the seven great rishis, then as different demigods. From the demigods come human beings, animals, trees, birds, beasts, and everything else. The original cause, however, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as verified herein. Tvameka adyaha purushaha. This is also confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Ishvaraha Paramakrishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. Those who are covered by the material energy cannot understand the origin of everything as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. This is summarized in the Vedanta aphorism Janmadhyasya Yataha, Vedanta Sutra 112. Krishna also confirms in the Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samandita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. When Krishna says that he is the origin of everything, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha, he means that he is even the source of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the Purusha avatars, the material manifestation, all the living entities in the material world. Actually, the word Prabhava, creation, only refers to this material world. For since the spiritual world is eternally existing, there is no question of creation. In the Chatushloki of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord says, Aham evasim evagre. I was existing in the beginning before the creation. 2.9.33. In the Vedas, it is also confirmed. It is also said, Eko Narayana Asit. Before the creation, there was only Narayana. This is also confirmed by Shankaracharya. Narayana Paro Vyaktat. That is Avyaktat. Narayana is transcendental to the creation, mentioned in the Gita Bhashya. Since all the activities of Narayana are spiritual, when Narayana said, let there be creation, that creation was all spiritual. The material only exists the quote and unquote material only exists for those who have forgotten that Narayana is the original cause. Hare Krishna. So in this chapter of Rudra Gita, we are seeing this where the reference is given to the Supreme Lord, that he is the only Supreme Person, the only cause of all causes. two times, Srila Prabhupada is referring to one statement, that is Tvamek Adyaha Purushaha. And here also he is mentioning Tvamek Adyaha Purushaha. You are the only one, you are the only one, you are the only one, but you are manifesting into so many other things. That means everything is the Supreme Lord. So initially the creation begins with, of course, there is a very short form of the creation which is mentioned here. But so initially there is Pradhana. Pradhana is the unmanifest energy of the Supreme Lord. And that Pradhana is impregnated with the vision of the Supreme Lord and with the influence of time. There is, that Pradhana is actually divided. Actually, Pradhana is in equilibrium. There is no such thing called as goodness, passion, ignorance. Everything is in equilibrium. All the three are in equilibrium. And once the the energy is agitated by the vision of the Lord and the influence of time, then it divides. It divides into Mahatattva. That is a manifest form of the energy of the Lord. So there is Mahatattva. Predominantly, it is in the mode of goodness. Then there is Sutra, and then there is the Ahankara, which is created. And Ahankara is predominantly in the mode of ignorance. This is how, there is a breakage in Sattva, Raja, Tamoguna from Pradhana to Mahatattva. Now, the Ahankara, in the mode of ignorance, actually creates the Pancha Tanmatras. The Pancha Tanmatras are nothing but, sound, taste, touch, form, smell. And from these Pancha Tanmatras, the Pancha Mahabhutas originate. So Pancha Mahabhuta, we all know. Bhumi, Rapo, Analo, Vayu, Kham. So that way, earth, water, fire, air, ether, all of these Pancha Mahabhutas originate from the Pancha Tanmatras. And this happens when Ahankara is, mixing with in the mode of ignorance. So Ahankara in the mode of ignorance. And there is Ahankara in the mode of passion. And that creates the Pancha Karmendriyas, the Pancha Jnanendriyas, the Prana, then the intelligence. All of this is created by Ahankara in the mode of passion. And then comes Ahankara in the mode of goodness. So Ahankara in the mode of goodness actually creates the presiding deities. And the presiding deities who are responsible for the five senses. So they are the presiding deities. And apart from that, the mind is also created by Ahankara in the mode of goodness. Whereas intelligence is created by Ahankara in the mode of passion. So mind is created in the mode of goodness. And then the Adhipati Devatas are there. So all these, demigods or the Vedas personified. If we see the 10th canto, the Vedas personified, they are actually doing stuti of the Supreme Lord even before the creation. That means even before Brahma is created, even before all the demigods are created, the personified Vedas are already there in the material world and they are glorifying the Supreme Lord before the creation. So like that, they are also created by Krishna. So the Supreme Lord creates them through the agency of false ego in the mode of goodness. So this is how, the creation begins. And of course, here a very interesting point is made by Prabhupada. Somewhere he mentions the sleeping energy. Where is that? Is created by the sleeping energy of the Supreme Lord. Anyway, I'm not able to see that. Okay. Here it is mentioned, Supta Shakti. That means, sleeping energy. First of all, there are, there are 4 stages of consciousness as revealed in the scriptures. The first stage is of the wakeful state. Wakeful state in the material world. And there is the dreaming state. So there is a Jagrana Avastha, then there is dreaming state, Swapna, and then there is the deep sleep, which is known as Sushupti. And there is another stage called as Kutastha. Kutastha is a complete Krishna conscious atmosphere. It's a complete Krishna conscious consciousness. Whereas in case of the wakeful state, the dreaming state, and the deep sleep state, they are there existing in the material world. But in reality, the wakeful state, the dreaming state, and the deep sleep in the material world, they are all part of the illusory energy. They are all belonging to this Supta Shakti. They are all belonging to the sleeping energy of the Supreme Lord. Basically, what happens in the sleep? In the sleep, a person completely forgets, oh, I have a job, I have a family, I have a wife. He does not remember that. He's completely forgotten. Only in the morning when he wakes up, he remembers, oh my God, I have to go to the office, I have to do this, I have to do that. He remembers everybody. But when he is dreaming in the night, he does not know anyone. He's completely forgotten about his wakeful life. And he is thinking about so many other things in the dream. He may be acting as a different person also in the dream. The same thing happens here. Mahavishnu is actually sleeping, and because of his sleeping energy, all the material worlds are manifested. Big Brahmandas are coming out. So many things are happening. The Pradhana is converting into Mahatattva, and then that is creating all the shells of the universes, and these universes are coming out of his body. All of this is happening inside the dream of Mahavishnu. It's very complicated, very interesting also. It is happening inside the dream of Mahavishnu. He is in Yoga Nidra. So all of this is happening. So basically, we are all performing our so-called, insignificant pastimes in the dream of Mahavishnu. That is what we are doing. So it is an illusion. Although it is illusion, the purport clearly says that it is my energy. So whatever the Lord creates, it cannot be matter. Anything that is manifested from the Supreme Lord, it is spiritual. So this material world also is spiritual because it is coming from the Supreme Lord. But the only thing is that those who want to independently, separately want to enjoy from the Supreme Lord, this nature becomes material for them. But in reality, the world created by the Supreme Lord is actually spiritual. So, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Daivi Heyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. My Maya, my Maha Maya is my Daivi Shakti. It is spiritual. But it is Duratyaya. It is insurmountable. Nobody can, overpower it. So the jivas, they struggle in this material energy. But if this material energy is used in the service of Krishna, then it is actually spiritual. That is why, Prabodhananda Saraswati says, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, Vidhi Mahendradishcha Kirtayate. So Vishwam Purna Sukha. For a pure devotee, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. The whole world is actually complete bliss. Why? He is engaging everything in the service of the Lord. Whereas in case of struggling jivas or practicing sadhakas, Krishna is saying Dukhalem Ashashvatam. The same world, but he is telling Anityam Asukham Lokam Dukhalem Ashashvatam, which is also a fact because we are identifying ourselves with matter. So it is obviously Dukhale. But in reality, there is no suffering. It is an illusion that we think that, we are having suffering. So that is the problem. Actually, the material world the Pancha Mahabhuta, which is made out of, earth, water, fire, air, ether. The body also is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. So it has no sensation. So there is no question of suffering. Matter does not suffer. So the body also does not suffer. Body is jada vastu completely. But we experience suffering. How is that possible? Is the soul suffering? No, the soul is also not suffering. Why? Because the soul has no relationship whatsoever with the material world. The soul is asango here, I am Purusha. It has no sangha, it has no relationship. It cannot relate itself with matter. Then who is suffering? When the soul is not suffering, the soul has no relationship with matter, the body is jada vastu, that is also not, it cannot suffer. You can't pinch a stone or you can't pinch water. It is not experiencing any suffering because the body is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. And who is it that is suffering? So the suffering is nothing but it is the mind which is thinking that we are the body that is suffering. It is the mentality which is causing us suffering and happiness. It is the ahankara which is forcing the mind to think that we are the body. And through the agency of sense perception, through the agency of matra, we are experiencing happiness and suffering. When I use the word tanmatra is what? Object of the matras. What is matra? Matra means senses. Like we have matras, sparshastu kaunteya, shita, ushna, sukha, dukkada, titikshava. So one should learn to tolerate these dualities, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So these matras, the sense perception is the one which is actually giving us an experience of happiness and suffering. But in reality, there is no suffering. There is no happiness. There is no material suffering. There is no material happiness. It is just an imagination. It is just an illusion. It is a duality, which is happening inside a dream. This is how it is. So, so this way, the material world is created, and also the purport says that this material manifestation later on, from Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, Brahma is originating, then all the Sapta Rishis are originating, and all the different demigods are originating. So everything, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, and Adi Yagya, they are all created by the Supreme Lord Himself. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sadi Bhutadi Daivam Mam, Sadi Yagyam Chaye Viduhu, Prayana Kale Pichamam, Te Vidur Yukta Chetasaha. Sadi Bhutadi Daivam Mam. He is telling Mam, it is me, this material manifestation that you are seeing. So Adi Bhuta. Then Sadi Bhutadi Adi Daivam Mam. Even the Adi Daiva is me. Adi Yagyam Chaye Viduhu. Even the Adi Yagya is also me. Prayana Kale Chipama. Anybody who knows, even at the time of death, Te Vidur Yukta Chetasaha. At the time of death, even if he knows all of this matter perfectly, understanding very well that he is not matter, he is spirit soul. And what is Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva? And that person, is properly situated in Krishna consciousness. That is the fourth stage of consciousness. So that is what is expected from all the jivas in this material world. Krishna, even in the 8th chapter also, he talks about this. He say, Arjuna asks Krishna that Kim Brahma, Kim Adhyatma, Kim Karma Purushottama, Adibhutam Chakim Proktam, Adidevam Kim Uchate, Adiyagyam Katam Kotra, Dehesmin Purushottama. What is that? Prayana Kale Chakatam Gniyosi Niyatatmavihi. He wants to know, what is this? What is it? What is Brahma? What is Adhyatma? What is Karma? Then he says, what is Adibhuta, Adidaiva, and Adiyagya? Then the Lord responds. He says, Aksharam Brahma Paramam, Swabhava Adhyatam Uchate. So that which is indestructible, that is Brahman. That is Parabrahman. And of course, the Jiva also is Brahman, but Lord Krishna categorizes jiva in the form in swabhava adhyatma uchyate. Our nature is to be subservient. So that is why it is said that jivera swarupa hoy Krishna nityadas. And then further Krishna, the Lord says that adibhutam ksharo bhavaha purushas chadi daivatam. Adibhutam ksharo bhavaha means that which is kshara, that which is destructible. That is adibhuta. Adibhuta is nothing but the material manifestation. The entire huge material manifestation, it will disintegrate. It will not exist. But it is still me. It is me who has come in the form of adibhuta. Adibhutam ksharo bhava. Purushas cha adidaivatam. And it is me, Purusha, in the form of Virata Rupa, who is Adidaiva. Adidaiva, it includes, all the demigods, who are, the different forms of the Lord, the different limbs of the Lord in the Virata Purusha. So, Purushas cha Adidaivatam, it says. So, then Adiyagyam ahamevatra dehe dehe pratambara. So, whereas in case of Adiyagya, I am situated in the form of the super soul or the Paramatma in the heart of all the living entities. So like that, Krishna clearly says that there is nothing which is existing independent of me. Everything is me. Sadi bhutadi devam mam, sadi yagyam chaye viduhu, prayana gare chipam te vidur yukta chetasaha. Like that. So basically the Lord is telling that there is nothing which is existing without me. He is the one who is sleeping in the Yoga Nidra. He is creating with his Supta Shakti, with the sleeping energy. He is creating this entire manifestation. And everything is happening inside the dream of Mahavishnu. And we have taken it as reality. Asatyera Satya Kori Mani. So the Jiva is, suffering because of his own ignorance. It is not that the Lord has put us into ignorance. It is not that the Lord is a sadist who is causing us suffering. No, it is because of our own ignorance. We are imagining that we are suffering. We are actually not suffering, but we are imagining that we are suffering because our Deha Atma Buddhi is very deep rooted. We are unable to come out of it. It's very deep rooted. We are forced to think that, I am the body. And because of this, we undergo suffering. So there are 4 types of suffering. 5 types of suffering. It is called as the Pancha Kleshas. The Patanjali Sutras mention, even our Rupa Goswami mentions the 5 Kleshas, which is Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. These are the 5 Kleshas where Avidya is nothing but ignorance. Because of the ignorance of our original, position, constitutional position, we misidentify ourselves as matter under the influence of false ego. So because of that, we suffer. Avidya. Then asmita. Asmi means, me. I am there. I am means, the false ego. So asmita, that is. And then there is raga, dvesha, there is attachment. Once we come into this world, we get attached to so many things. Then there is hatred, we are displeased with so many things, so many circumstances, so many situations. So that creates dvesha in us. Raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Then abhinivesha is nothing but it is, we become so much absorbed in this matter that we are afraid to come out of our comfortable situation, so-called comfortable situation. We are afraid of death. We do not want to come out of this body. We don't want to experience death. We fear that I may not exist. So we are afraid of dying. So this is called as abhinivesha. That means we are so much absorbed into the world that we cannot think of another uncomfortable situation. Actually, there is no uncomfortable situation. But in reality, the current existing so-called comfortable situation is actually a false situation. It is not real. But we think that this is comfortable situation and we want to come into an uncomfortable situation. So Jiva does not want to come out. He's afraid. He does not want to, experience death. He's afraid of it. But Krishna, knowing very well that we are going through that illusion, he forcibly, periodically, time to time, makes sure that we come out of this illusion that we are suffering. And what does he do? He creates something called as death. We experience death. And by experiencing death, we are forced to come out of the body. When we are forced to come out of the body, we realize that finally, oh, after all, I am not the body. After all, I don't have any suffering. I am beyond the body. It was some so-called illusory sense perception which was creating the suffering and happiness. But in reality, there is no suffering. But unfortunately, even after millions and millions of, birth and death, we are unable to realize that, we are not the body. We still want to go back into the body because of our karma. We want to enjoy the material world. We want to be inside the 84 lakh species of life. And although the Lord has created death, we are unable to realize it. And we struggle, we suffer here. So these 5, kleshas cause us more suffering. We are stuck. In fact, Brahma also creates, further to bind us properly, thoroughly in this world, he creates Tamisra, Andhatamisra, Moha, Mahamoha, Tamas. These are the 5 creations, before he starts creating all his Manasa Putras, he creates all these illusions which will bind a living entity in this world. Tamisra is where you have anger and hatred for the Lord. So we come to this world. Andha Tamisra is by death, everything is over. So let me enjoy. That is the mentality of Andha Tamisra. Then there is Moha, attachment to all the things that we see around. Actually, there is no relationship with this world, but we become attached. Anything that I see a car, I become attached. I see a house, I become attached. But actually, the soul has no relationship with any of this matter. Then there is Mahamoha, beginning with sexual attraction. And there is Tamas, where we have no knowledge of we being the soul. We think that we are the body. So these thoroughly bind a jiva in the material world. Now it may appear like we have been deliberately put into a jail, but no, we have decided ourselves to forget Krishna. We have decided ourselves to go into the jail. So the Lord has to create such a situation. Just like if I want to forget my family, my wife, my children, or my job, what can I do? It's very simple. I go into sleep. When I go into sleep, I am in an illusion. I don't remember. I'm in a dream state. In the same way, because we want to forget Krishna, we do not want to remember him. We want to be separate from him. The Lord says, in the Kotastha platform, in the original conscious platform, it is impossible. You can never forget me. What can I do? So putting on his thinking cap, the Lord thinks, I have to put them in such a state where they may not experience the Kotastha platform because they want to forget me. So the Lord creates a dream-like state, because when you're dreaming, you forget your original state. So that dream-like state is nothing but the material world, where we all come here, we are dreaming and dreaming and dreaming, so we do not know our original. So within the dream, there is the availability of the Vedas, the Shastras, the pure devotees, the Satsanga, everything else. Why? To break that dream. And when we break open that dream and when we wake up, then we realize that, oh, it was such an insignificant thing that I was, submerged in. And then that is called as a liberated platform. This is how it is. So a very beautiful example is given here, how a child is, wants to imitate the mother, and he wants to cook in the kitchen. But that is not possible. The mother knows very well that the child has no capacity. He will simply, hurt himself. It is not his constitutional position. So mother says, all right, you cook. She gives him some toy, kitchen items, and then, he plays with it. And it is designed in such a way that the child will become frustrated playing with the toys. And then when he cries for the mother, then the mother's attention is attracted. So long we don't cry for the mother is very happy giving us the toys. Why? She says, where is stubborn child? Let it play. So let me give the toys. This material world is nothing but a toy. So this world has been given to us so that we can play, lord it over, as Srila Prabhupada says. But when we throw away the toy, when we reject, when we become nirvedya, when we become renounced of this material world, when we no longer hanker for the material world, then when we cry for the Lord, when we cry for the mother, then the mother will come and will pick us up. So long we do not cry for the Lord, so long we do not pray to the Lord to remove the illusion, there is no hope, there is no chance. Tatra laulyam api ekalam mulyam janma koti sukritair na labhyate. Rupa Goswami says that. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate. If Krishna consciousness is available somewhere in the association of devotees or elsewhere, please purchase it, not by your Sukriti. Sukriti is useless. It can be thrown away. It can only be purchased by our intense greed. So when we cry for the Supreme Lord, when we ask Him to please remove this curtain of Maya, please help me to realize you. I have sufficiently suffered. That is also an illusory suffering. I do not want to go through this. I want to surrender to you. Please wake me up from my dream. Then the Lord will guide us. If we are unable to cry, like as Gaur Govinda Maharaj says, cry that you are unable to cry. That should be our mood while chanting the holy name also. Cry that we are unable to cry for the Lord. So that way, that also attracts the attention of the Supreme Lord. He becomes, merciful to us, seeing that, oh, this jiva is unable to, come out of his attachments, or is unable to practice seriously, but he is repenting, he is lamenting. That means crying that he is unable to cry. The Lord becomes very merciful. So that way, we will have some hope. So it is very important that we should become frustrated. We have been put into a room, just like a child. A child is very, very stubborn. The mother will give some toys and put him inside a room and lock the room from outside. This material world is like a room. We are locked into that room and we are playing with the toys. So many varieties are there in the material world. But how long can we play? When we go on playing and playing and playing and playing in the room, one day we will realize that, I am foolishly playing alone in the world. I have no shelter. I have nobody else to play with me, because we are changing bodies. Nobody is permanent. So in reality, we are alone. We have nobody to play. When we realize that I'm alone, when we are anatha, when we throw away our toys and when we cry, and then the Lord shows mercy, the mother shows mercy, and then she will open the door lock and she will let us out. So we need to cry for the Lord. We need to cry that we want to be with the Lord. We want to be with the mother. Then only we have some hope of coming out of this. And as many other prayers within what do you call Bhagavatam, there are so many interesting things which talks about how the Lord is everything. Just like the shloka says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartate. I am everything. Everything is emanating from me. Mattaha parataram na anyat. Nobody is greater than me. I am everything. Anybody who understands this perfectly, he will engage in devotional service. Somebody who does not understand, who is not properly situated in this knowledge, Siddhanta, then it is difficult for him to fully surrender to the Supreme Lord and practice devotional service. Very important to understand the philosophy. So there was nobody, it was only the Supreme Lord, and He is the source. He is everything. Everything is emanating from Him. The Vedas also tell, before the creation there was nobody, but there was only Narayana. Narayana paro avyaktat. Eko Narayana asit. Aham evasam evagre. The Lord exists before creation. He will exist after creation. And during the creation also He is existing. And He Himself is a creation. He is the ingredient. He is a creation. He is everything. He is the jiva. So everything is the Supreme Lord, because everything is the energy of the Supreme Lord. Just like there's the prayer of the Nagapatnis in the 10th canto, where the Nagapatnis are praying to the Supreme Lord. They are telling, you are Vishwa Hetu, you are Vishwa Drishta, you are Vishwa Bharta, and you are Vishwaya. Vishwa Hetu, Vishwa Drishta, Vishwa Bharta, Vishwaya means you are the cause of the universe. Who decided to, if somebody asks the question, what is the cause of this universe? The Lord decided to create. So that is why He is Vishwa Hetu. He is the cause. Then Vishwa Karta. And who created it? He Himself created it. He is Vishwa Karta. Then He is Vishwa Bharta also. Vishwa Bharta means He is the maintainer of the universe. Vishwa Drishta, He is the overseer of the universe. And He is Vishwaya. Vishwaya means He is the universe itself. He is the ingredients. He is the Panchamahabhuta. He is the Panchatanmatra. He is the mind. He is the senses. Rishikena, Rishikesha. All the senses are coming from the Lord. Indriyana Manaschasmi. Among the senses, I am the mind. Lord is telling, I am the mind. There's no difference between the Lord and the mind. The Lord is the intelligence. The Lord is the senses. The Lord is the prana. And the Lord is actually all the Panchamahabhuta and Panchatanmatra. That means there is nothing existing apart from the Lord. Nothing is separate. Everything is the Supreme. The Jivas are also the Lord, because, Lord in the sense they are part and parcel of the Lord. We are His energy. Energy means energy and energetic are non-different. That means Shakti Shaktimatayor Abhedaha. There is no difference between the energy and the energetic. We are all His energy. So in one sense, we are all emanations of the Lord. So in reality, nothing is existing apart from the Lord. It is our foolishness to think that there is something separate. Like, when we become agitated by some dualities, mana, apamana, sukha, dukkha. So if somebody is criticizing us, abusing us, insulting us, and then we try to blame that person, it is our foolishness. Because the duality in reality does not exist. And dualities are existing only because of sense perception. But in reality, it is not there. And in case of criticizing and finding fault with somebody who is giving me trouble, that is also foolishness, because there is none other than the Supreme Lord. The body which the other person's body is made out of Pancha Mahabhuta, which is non-different from the Supreme Lord's energy. Bhinna Prakriti Rashtada. And apart from that, He is controlled by the modes of nature, which is the Supreme Lord. And He is Atma, which is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And then there is Paramatma also seated in His heart, which is the Supreme Lord. So He is completely under the control of the modes. He is under the control of the Paramatma. And if we are finding fault with Him, we are actually finding fault with the Supreme Lord. If we are having envy of a jiva, it is actually having envy of the Supreme Lord. Because nothing is existing without the Supreme Lord. So whatever we see around, we should see that, the Lord is present in everything. In all the jivatmas, in the heart of all the living entities, and in each and every atom, even even non-living matter, the Lord is present in the form of Paramatma in the atom also. So that way, everywhere, wherever we see, there is the Supreme Lord. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. Anybody who sees the Lord everywhere, for him, the Lord is never lost, because he is perfectly seeing the Lord. He is able to see the Lord everywhere, because the Lord is existing everywhere. Even Kunti Maharani is saying same thing, what Nagapatnis are saying. She says, Atha Vishweshwa Vishwatman Vishwamurte Swakeshume. Sneha Pashamimam Chindi Dadam Pandushu Vrishnishu. She says, Atha Vishwaisha, you're the controller of the Vishwa. Vishwatman, you are the super soul of the universe. And then she says, Vishwamurte, you are actually personified Vishwa. You are the Murti of Vishwa. You are the universe itself. The universe is non-different from you. So like that, we see many references how the Lord is non-different from the universe. Even in the Gajendra Moksha, Gajendra is praying to the Lord. And in the prayers, he says, Yasmin idam yataschedam yenedam ya idam swayam yosmat parasmat paras tam prapadye swayam bhuvan. So the meaning of that is Yasmin idam. Idam means, the universe, the material world. Just like Krishna says, Maya tatam idam sarvam. Idam means the universe. So Yasmin idam, this world, the platform for this world is nothing but Krishna. Yasmin idam, this material world, this idam is existing because of the Supreme Lord. Yasmin idam. He is the base, he is the platform. Yasmin idam yatascha idam. Yatascha idam means he is the ingredients of this universe. Idam is universe. So, Yasmin idam yatascha idam. He is the ingredients of this universe. Then, Yasmin idam yatascha idam yene idam ya idam swayam. Yene idam means he is the creator of this universe. Yeah, idam swayam. That means this universe itself is he. He is swayam, this universe. Same thing is repeated everywhere else. Basically, these subject matters are boring. Generally, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we want to hear nice Damodar Leela pastime and this and that. But we should learn to understand these, descriptions of universe, creation, sarga, the glorification of the Supreme Lord, how he is everything. This is actually very interesting because among all the prayers by the great souls, like, the Hamsa Guhya prayer or the Nagapatnis or this Gajendra Moksha, they are praying the same thing. They are telling, who the Lord is, what is his position, how he is everything. So like that, Yadaschedam ya enedam idam swayam. You are that universe itself. You are everything. Yosmat parasmacha paras. Although you are everything, but still you are beyond this. Same Bhagavad Gita philosophy. Yosmat parasmacha paras. You are beyond the cause and effect of this universe. Tam prapadya swayam bhuvan. I pay my obeisances to you. Something like that. So, the lesson that we learn from this verse is the Lord is everything. He is the creator, he is the ingredient, he is the maintainer, he is the living entity, he is the senses, he is the mind, he is the intelligence, he is the consciousness, he is everything. And there is no separate existence. Pritak drishastat kritarupa nama vihi is only because of our illusion, because we are put into that dreamlike state within the Yoga Nidra of Mahavishnu. So we have to break open that dream and come out. And that is only possible through the mercy. We ourselves cannot do that. It is impossible. And that is possible, by crying for the Supreme Lord. So, yeah, so that is the summary of this verse. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Dandot Pranam. Thank you very much, wonderfully explaining the technical aspects in this verse. That was very simple to hear when you were explaining. Actually, one interesting perspective you brought about keeping line with the theme, how we are in illusion, still we are connected with the Lord. Likewise, you said that it's very important that we become frustrated. Only in frustration we can be connected with the Lord by crying out. And if we are not able to cry out, cry that I'm unable to cry. Definitely a wonderful perspective, practical perspective. Thank you very much. Devotees can unmute themselves to share their reflections or if they have any questions. Please ask, Prabhuji.
I think I've thoroughly put everybody in the sleeping energy.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for wonderful class, Prabhuji. But the insightful point was like what Sri Bhagavat Prabhu has mentioned. Even if you are not able to cry, we should pray that I am not able to cry. We should cry that I am not able to cry. I think that was a very nice point, Prabhuji. I have one question, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
So in the beginning, you mentioned, Prabhuji, mind is actually the mode of predominantly in the mode of sattva guna or mode of goodness.
Yeah, it's
So
created
when
by
mind is
ankara in the mode of goodness.
yes, yes, Prabhuji. So if mind is in the mode of the real purpose, real mode is goodness. Why it is causing that much of ruckus, Prabhu? Because you said no. On the other side also you said everything is actually manifestation of mind, whether it is suffering or happiness in this material world. It's actually what is happening in the mind.
Right.
The mind is in the mode of goodness, especially talking about the ruckus and the sufferings that we are going through. How to understand that, Prabhuji?
Right. So mind is nothing but mind has no discrimination. It only can perform one function, which is called a sankalpa and vikalpa. That is accepting and rejecting. It has no viveka. Viveka comes only from intelligence. So what happens is, when we are given the mind, when the jiva is given the mind is nothing but it is an instrument. Like I have a pen. The pen is an instrument. Now I can do anything with this. I can stab somebody, or I can write some nice poetry or an essay. How I use this is through viveka, through my intelligence. And now intelligence is empowered by the knowledge of Shastra and other things. So that is why it is called as vivek. So mind cannot do anything on its own. It will either degrade or it can elevate on the way we use it. So that is why, although it was originally created in the mode of goodness, by misuse of the mind in the three modes of nature, when we acquire lower modes of nature, the mind degrades. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. So how we utilize our mind, so accordingly the mind will either elevate or it will degrade. So that is why we have to keep controlling our mind. The nature of the mind in the material world is only to go down. It cannot go up naturally. Natural way of mind's existence in this world is to go down. So we have to forcibly lift the mind and take it to its original position of goodness, and then beyond that, pure goodness. So that is why it is said that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, beat your mind 100 times with a broomstick and also 100 times with footwear. So not literal, the meaning of the implied meaning is, we always forcibly control our mind. We don't allow it to dictate. We do not, because it has no discrimination of its own. We have to give discrimination to it through the agency of intelligence. I will see anything and everything around, and the mind will say, yeah, this is good, that is good, this is good, that is good. No. We have to see what the Shastra tells us. Is this good? Is this good? Is this good or not? So that is how, through Viveka, we train the mind. Or else the mind will take us on a very long trip in the material world and we'll continue to suffer. So that is what happens. I hope it answers.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. That clarified my question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, it was a nice class, but very difficult to understand. Some practical tips you can give, Prabhuji. As you said, if the other person is causing me trouble, I have to consider the other person as Supreme Lord. His body, mind, Paramatma, everything. So how I should react, Prabhuji? If the person is giving me trouble, so how I should react to him? Should I just keep quiet and what I should do?
Yeah, we should keep quiet, because if you keep quiet, then the influence of the dualities of this world, they will reduce. But when we react, then we are creating more karma. This is very basic understanding. Even if somebody does not know anything about karma and this and that, the best solution for a non-Vedic person is not to react. By not reacting, we will definitely not construct anything, but we will also not destroy anything. In fact, it will help us. We will not create any further complications. So we should not react. But if we are a Vedic person, we are practicing devotional service, we have some knowledge of Shastra, then we obviously know that it is because of our past. We may have done so many things. So whatever we have done in the past, that is coming as a reaction. This is how a devotee takes. All the great souls also take. Brahma is telling, Tatenukampam susamikshamana bhunjana eva atma kritam vipakam. Bhunjana, we are enjoying or suffering because of what? Atma kritam vipakam. What we have done in the past, our sinful activities, that is causing suffering. When Brahma himself is telling, who are we to think something else? That means we are rejecting the authority. So devotee means we should accept whatever is coming to me is because of my own doings. If somebody is hurting me, if somebody is insulting me, if somebody is giving me trouble, it's my own reaction. There is no other reason. And this is again, medium. First understanding I gave you, don't react for a non-devotee. For a devotee, we know, we understand it is because of my own karma. And there is another understanding also, very high understanding. It is on the platform of pure devotional service, on the platform of Shuddha Bhakti, on the platform of liberation. And that understanding is, in reality, there is no suffering. In reality, there is no suffering and no happiness. That is what I spoke for 1 hour now. Why?
Yeah, that's what, Prabhu, that I didn't understand. But it is causing me mental agony, Prabhu.
Correct.
How can you think it's an illusion?
That is because your mind is identifying yourself with the body. You are not the body, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
But the body also, sometimes we get diseases. We can see it. Supposing if there is a wound or swelling, we can see with the eyes and we can feel the pain.
Correct.
How can you think it's an illusion?
Yes, it is, because the mind is forcing us, because through the sense perception, we think that we are the body. And that is why we experience some sensation. And that is why we think it is suffering. It is mind which is forcing us to think. That is how it is. Under the influence of false ego. False ego strongly is deep rooted within the body. Like, in the body, I'm put in a cage. Somebody is telling, come out of the cage, come out of the cage. I'm not ready to come out of the cage. I will say, no, I am me. I don't want to come out. So somebody outside the cage, he is laughing at us. He says, you're not the cage. You come out, you'll be free. But we are not ready. Why? It is so deep rooted. Just to give another example, if my car is hurt, if somebody damages my car, it is hurting me. Is it really hurting me? No, it is not. Because I have no relationship with the car. The car is just a metal piece. Because that is hurt, I am affected. So in the same way, when the body is hurt, which we are not, it is a car, but still the soul is affected. We think that I am suffering, but in reality, we are not suffering. Now you gave me an example of wound. I will give you another example. When somebody, you're sitting for a very long time, for 2 hours, and you catch cramps,
Yes.
in your leg, and somebody pinches you on your leg, do you feel the sensation?
No.
You will not. Why? You are the same body, right? You were suffering with some wound, but when somebody is pinching you, when there is cramp, you are not experiencing it. That proves that you are not the body. The sense perception has been cut off through whatever agency you may want to call it, blood circulation, blah, 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 whatever it may be. You are not experiencing any sensation when somebody is pinching you where your leg is under cramps. That proves that you are not the body. So that way there are so many examples, it's very easy to prove that we are not the body. It is complete illusion. Like Prabhupada mentions in this beautiful purport in the 11th canto, how happiness and suffering, they are the faces of the same coin, same damn coin. They are the faces of the same coin. That means what? There is no difference between happiness and suffering. It is just an illusion. The other day I was giving this example, how for example, in the heat, in the summer, you're taking that cold water and you're pouring on your body, you're taking bath. It is giving us pleasure. I'm not changing the activity. I'm not changing the ingredient. I'm taking the same water and pouring on my body. I'm taking bath, but in December, and that is giving me suffering. I'm doing the same activity, and that activity is giving me happiness in some other time, and the same activity is giving me suffering in some other time. Is it not illusion? It is because of sense perception. It is a big illusion. For another example, I'm eating bhaji, bonda, paneer, sweets, so many things. I'm a youth, I'm a 20-year-old boy. I will eat all this every day. It will give me a lot of pleasure. It's very tasty. But can a 70-year-old man do this? He eats bhaji, bonda, paneer, sabji, all this, that, everything, every day. He may not even be alive. Forget about hospital. He'll go up. He will not survive. The activity is the same. But at one point of time, it is giving me happiness. At another point of time, it is giving me suffering. Very interesting, if you deeply think about it. Happiness and distress is nothing but it is two faces of the same coin. It is called as duality. Duality does not exist in this world. It is just an illusion. We are experiencing it only because of sense perception. Just like my car is hit, it is hurting me. Same way when the body is troubled, because of my ahankara deep rooted within the body, the soul is affected. And so we are experiencing happiness and suffering. So many hundreds of examples can be given. Even, somebody spending money. I spend money to buy, ice cream, pizza, and I eat. I feel a lot of happiness. But the same money I'm spending to buy some, medicine for cancer and I'm eating it, it is causing me suffering. Activity is the same, but one activity is causing me suffering, another activity is causing me happiness in a different circumstance. So in reality, it is an illusion. It does not exist. We are so deep-rooted into the body, we think that we are suffering. So that is why I said, for low grade, for lower consciousness, we should think, oh, it is my karma, I'm suffering, it is because of my past. That is what, all our acharyas have given us. But when we are actually on the liberated platform, we realize that actually there's no suffering. It is a big illusion. I hope I don't know how much it made sense, but this is
the karma theory made some sense, Prabhuji. I'll try to understand it at a higher level when I go there, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful Q&A. I think in the interest of the time, we'll conclude, Prabhuji. Once again, thank you for your time and very detailed explanations. We'll conclude with Vaishnava Pranams. Vaishnavebhyo Namo Ananta Koti Hare Krishna.
Ashok Gaura Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.